So you're getting pretty comfortable working with graph data, right? Loading up a simple edge list is a piece of cake. But let's be honest, real-world data is almost never that neat and tidy. It's usually a total mess, scattered across a bunch of different files and in formats that you can't just, well, plug and play. And that's a huge problem. What are you supposed to do when you're staring at a file in some weird format like RDF? Or when your graph is split into pieces across multiple sources? You just know there are amazing insights buried in there. But you can't even get the data into GraphX to begin with. You're completely stuck. So, where do you go from here? Okay, let's break this down. On the left, you see the data we all know and love. It's that clean, simple edge list. Source ID, destination ID. Perfect. But on the right, that's the data we actually have. It's not just numbers, it's concepts, names, and relationships all mixed together. And tackling this is exactly what we're going to do today. Which, of course, brings up the first big question: what in the world is this RDF format anyway? I mean, it doesn't look anything like the source and destination pairs we're used to. It kind of looks more like, well, like simple sentences. And that's a fantastic observation because that's pretty much what it is. RDF stands for Resource Description Framework. And at its heart, it's just a standardized way to make statements using a really simple structure: a subject, a predicate, and an object. So a statement like Plato influences Aristotle becomes Plato, the subject, influences the predicate, and Aristotle, the object. Now, here's where the light bulb really goes on. We can map this RDF structure directly onto the graph concepts you already know. The subject in an RDF triple, that's just your source vertex. The object, that's your destination vertex. And that predicate in the middle, that's nothing more than the label or the property on the edge that connects them. Suddenly, that sentence Plato influences Aristotle becomes an edge from a Plato vertex to an Aristotle vertex with the label influences. Simple, right? Okay, so that makes a lot of sense conceptually, but here's the real roadblock. GraphX doesn't come with a built-in RDF reader. So if you can't just point it at a file and say, go, how on earth do we get this data loaded into a graph we can actually work with? Well, we have to roll up our sleeves and do it ourselves. But don't worry, it's a super logical three-step process. First, we're going to scan through all the data and pull out every unique name, every single subject and object. Second, we'll create what's basically a dictionary that maps each of those unique names to its own unique numeric ID. And finally, we just use that dictionary to translate our original data and build the proper GraphX edges using those new shiny IDs. Let's actually watch it in action. We start with our raw triples on the left. From there, we pull out all the unique entities. In this case, that's Plato, Aristotle, Male, and Socrates. Then, the magic happens. We just assign a unique ID to each one. Plato becomes vertex 1, Aristotle is vertex 2, and you get the idea. This dictionary we just built, it's the absolute key to everything. And now for the final step, the big payoff. We take our original data, like the subject Plato and the object Aristotle, and we look up their new IDs in our dictionary, which are 1L and 2L. Now we can build a proper GraphX edge. Edge 1L, 2L influences. We just rinse and repeat for every single triple, and bam, our messy RDF file has been transformed into a clean, usable GraphX graph. Okay, that is a massive step forward. We can now handle these complex file formats, but you know how it is? You solve one problem and another one pops up. What about that other common headache? What if your graph data is split across 2, 5, or even 10 different files? Let's imagine a really simple scenario. Here's graph A. All we have is Anne connected to Bill, and Bill is connected to Charles. Pretty straightforward. And here's graph B. Now pay attention here. We see Bill and Charles again, the same people from graph A. But this time, they're forming new connections to a new person, Diane. The big challenge is, how do we merge these two graphs without creating a second Bill or a second Charles? Believe it or not, the process is almost identical to how we handle the RDF file. And it all comes back to that dictionary idea. Here's the most important part. You can't just trust the vertex IDs from one graph to work with the other. You have to throw them all out and create a brand new, unified dictionary that includes every person from both graphs. We'll combine all the names, create a distinct list, and then assign a fresh set of IDs. That's how we guarantee that Bill is the same person with the same ID no matter which file he came from. And just like that, look at the result. We get a single, coherent graph. Anne, Bill, Charles and Diane, each show up exactly once, but all of their relationships from both of the original files are perfectly preserved. Bill is now correctly connected to both Charles and Diane. It's perfect. So when you really think about it, by mastering these two techniques, how to manually parse a complex file and how to properly merge separate graphs, we've basically just unlocked the power to work with almost any kind of messy, real-world graph data you can throw at it. That is exactly right. So let's wrap this up. The big takeaways? First, don't ever be scared of formats like RDF. With a custom parsing strategy, they're totally manageable. Second, the secret sauce for both reading and merging is that dictionary concept, mapping string names to unique numeric IDs. And finally, and this is crucial, when you're merging graphs, you must create a new unified dictionary to keep your data consistent. These aren't just little tricks. These are the methods that turn GraphX into an absolute beast for analyzing real-world data. This really opens up a whole new universe of possibilities. Just think about all the separate, unrelated data sets you could now pull together into one single massive graph. So I'll leave you with a question to chew on. Now that you have the skills to combine pretty much any data you want, what hidden relationships, what incredible insights are you going to be the first to find? Thanks so much for joining me for this explainer. If you found this helpful, do me a favor and hit that like button, share it, and subscribe for more deep dives. I'll see you in the next one.